Hello, hello, and good evening, everyone. How are you out there? Karen coming to you with Karen's Carrots tonight. I hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving, a safe and healthy one, and hopefully you did the most important thing before eating, and that's express your thankfulness for whatever you're thankful for. Hopefully, you got a chance to spend time with family, which I know a lot of you missed from last year. Hopefully, the food was good. You didn't eat too much. Now, here it is, December 2nd, and we're back to the business at hand. And tonight, I invite you to just share with us some of your strategies for this particular time of the year, which is otherwise known as the fourth quarter. So, what are you doing? Are you chill? Are you anxious? Are you beating the drums loudly? What's going on? Oops, I don't have me up there. Yes, so what's going on? How are you ending the fourth quarter without stress? That's the question. So I'm interested in hearing from you. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining. So I wanted to hear what people were doing. I've seen slash heard what some people are doing. They've had special launches in this, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. There's been some extensions going on. Some people made goals in the beginning of the year. They wanted to have their first six-figure year, and they learned that the way to get to seven figures, I heard a coach say, was to go for eight. So, how did you do in terms of meeting your goals, etc.? So, I'm waiting for you all to chime in. I have a few notes here. I'll share with you. You can let me know. Hi, Judith, if you agree or not. So, five sales strategies that every professional needs to finish 2021. I'll go through these and you can let me know whether or not you agree and whether or not you are in a service based business or you have a product of some sort or you're adding a product to a service based business. So, number one, strategic review. So, they say begin by looking backwards, setting aside some time to review what you have done in every other quarter of 2021. Review your behaviors and results. That's real important. That gives you a lot of information and let you know where actual changes need to be made. Excuse me one moment. Okay, what did you do that really worked? They say don't fix it if it ain't broke. What did you do that netted your business or gained you referrals? Remember, we always want to be building that customer base leads, that they're often termed as. You always want to be building that group so that you have people to work with, people to attract, people to market your goods to. What opportunities did you lose and why? Make a list of the customers you won. Make a list of the prospects you lost. And most importantly, those opportunities you engaged with but forgot to follow up. We hear that so frequently. The fortune is in the follow up, right, Judith? We all have them, those prospects rather that slip through the cracks. Okay. I'm still waiting to hear your strategy and your plan for ending quarter four. Um, Will you meet your goals for ending quarter four with more than you ended quarter four in 2020 with less? I'd love to hear how your plan is going. In fact, number two says you need a plan. With that information in hand and a far better understanding of what sales behaviors were productive and what sales strategies you need to let go of, it's time to make your plan. Your plan of how you're going to spend the last quarter of the year, who you're going to call on, what sales strategies you are going to use, and how you are going to revisit customer relationships. That is so important. Building those relationships that need expanded revisit prospects that may have fallen through the cracks and revisit those prospects that you lost to competitors. How about that? You know just to see if there's more opportunity. Look at every month in fourth quarter and decide how to use your time productively. Judith says, I have had a great year that was filled with opportunities on how to move forward with my business. That is excellent. That is excellent. And that gives you information to strategize going forward. Being in a position to take advantage of those opportunities is everything. Hi. Okay, so you were able to chip at some of my go good and will be able to execute on them. Excellent. Excellent. That is important. One of the things that I had to embrace and not fight, and that was celebrating the small wins. We must celebrate the small wins. As one more experienced person said, if we don't celebrate the small wins, we we sort of I was going to say defeat the purpose, but not necessarily defeat the purpose, but we make it so difficult. um the time, the effort seems huge to reaching your goals when you don't celebrate those little wins along the way. And I had that issue. And when I begin to embrace the small wins, it made all the difference in the world. Okay. Number three, maximize downtime. What does that mean exactly? One of the best parts of the fourth quarter are the amount of holidays. Even if you don't celebrate those holidays, you're still the beneficiary of the world slowing down, the email coming to a halt, and everyone being a bit more relaxed, at least when it comes to business. That is so true. I know I've said on occasion, I wish the atmosphere could be like this all the time. There's like a willingness, a naturalness to be kind, to treat people kind, to extend courtesies easily, to be more philanthropic in terms of giving and helping. And I just think that's wonderful. And we don't have to have a holiday to extend these niceties, to extend some humility towards each other, some kindness. I really love it. And look, I can go 24/7 on it because it feels good, okay? And it's easy to do. It costs you nothing. Absolutely nothing. Hi, Jenny. How are you? Jenny, you've been going and blowing and looking good. So good that you're here. Thank you for joining us tonight. Okay, let's see. By the time December hits, most sales professionals are into the holiday parties and giving their prospects space to finish up budgets, meet end of the year deadlines, and squeeze in a little family time. And while you certainly don't want to be the sales professional doing hard times, at this time, you also don't want to be the sales professional who goes away either. Downtime or the holiday season is a great time to be visiting clients, inviting them to events, taking them thank you gifts for being such great customers, and letting them know if um, they need anything, you would be glad to help. That is so true. I know when I was working during this time of the year, you receive gifts from vendors. You received invites from vendors like caterers you may have used frequently throughout the year. Temporary agencies you may have used. Oftentimes, they would give an event for all of their customers. But that whole extension of goodwill and camaraderie and building relationships, not only is it important, it really helps to engage you in a way that continues the business relationship or continues doing business with a particular client. So, yeah, that's a good time. Okay, so as Woody Allen says, 90% of success is just showing up. And that is so true for the sales professional that shows up during the holiday season. Now, I don't know about now, and I've been out the professional corporate world for a while, but there was a time that during the holiday season, elaborate gifts were given. And maybe companies are rethinking that in terms of giving elaborate gifts. And this has happened before, but maybe there's a greater focus on it now. And that is what you can do for others. Others who are in need in a variety of ways. It may be an organization that needs more resources. Um, I know I volunteered with a teen organization one year, and they wanted you to give gift cards so that the teens could go to the store themselves and buy underwear. They wanted them to have the experience of going to the store and just, it could have been Target, Macy's, wherever you chose to purchase gift cards to give to these teens. It allowed them to have some independence, especially with intimate garments like underwear. Um, so there are many organizations out here that perhaps rather than the elaborate gift giving, it could be redirected to groups, organizations that have a greater need. And that also gives you a great feeling of having contribute something that's really, really valuable to those who are otherwise unable to do it themselves or simply need more help. Okay, four, position for 2022. Let's see. We have a comment here. Yes, R&R is awesome and it is important. That is something that you must do. I think, and it may have been as a result of the pandemic, I think there is a greater awareness of the need for self-care. Not it doesn't have to be anything exotic or extensive, but it must be time that you specifically devote to some good feeling, a massage, a getaway from the same four walls. It doesn't have to be far, it doesn't have to be expensive, but what it does need to be is a space environment that gives you relief, a sense of recovery from the everyday stress, the everyday run of the mill, whatever. It gives you a chance to step away and regroup. And I think more people, my sister said to me, she says, I've decided I'm going to do something. I'm not sure if she said every day or every week. That's, self care, mani, pedi, massage, a meal out, just something that says, stop. This is not work. This is time for you. Take it. Okay. That's also important. Yes, establishing new relationships. That's really good. And we want to always be cognizant of the relationships that we're establishing, um, to make sure that they are healthy, that in some way they contribute to our well being and does not, for instance, make us not feel well, whether it's self doubt, whether it's being defensive, whether it's simply toxic. We don't want to be in those kinds of atmosphere. Hi, Tammy. How are you? Yes, Tammy, it is. And even going to get a nice hairdo, to get your hair all refreshed and maybe a different style or something, that puts a smile on your face. You know, when we're dressed and just have on something we feel good about, it makes us feel good within and without. And these are small things we need to be cognizant of and give to ourselves. So, number four, position for 2022. Some years, fourth quarter can be your highest closing quarter. I've heard that many times. I made more money in the fourth quarter than I made all year. And some years, customers just have too much on their plates. Either way, don't go into the fourth quarter thinking about closing a deal. Go into the fourth quarter thinking about positioning yourself for success in 2021. Sure, you'll close deals, probably lots of them. But for those where the timing was not right, you can position yourself to get in the door and close the deal in the first quarter of 2022. How does that sound? With every holiday gift you deliver, with every end of year visit you make, with every client you engage with at a holiday party, you want to let them know you will be reaching out that first week in January to help them reach their goals for 2022. You see how that transitioning into the new year, prepping potential clients, customers at the various holiday parties and other gatherings you may take part in. Keep that in mind. Use the fourth quarter as your opportunity to celebrate with your customers, giving them the space to tend to their business priorities, all the while letting them know you will be giving them a call as soon as the holiday is over. By helping them hit the ground running in January of 2022, they will be helping you come out of the gate strong. You see that? That's one of those win-win that we often hear about. Yes, I love the fourth quarter. It is the quarter, in my opinion, that separates the weak from the strong. Put your time and energy into maximizing the fourth quarter and watch as you not only exceed your goals for 2021, but you leave your competition in the dust. How about that? You don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You don't have to rely on luck or getting a better territory. You just have to plan your work and work your plan. It works every time. It's tried. That was a quote from Kelly Riggs, founder and president of the Business Locker Room. So, what did you all think of that? And what do you have in plan going forward as the fourth quarter and without stress? That is just so important because we hear this and we hear it loosely, but stress is a killer. And the other thing is, if your plan is not working, if your plan is not a good one, and I say that from the standpoint of consulting with those who know more, your coach for instance, consulting with those who have had success in the way you do business or in the area in which you do business. We're reading a book right now called it just reminded me of this, listening to learn. The book is by, hold on, Never Split the Difference. Okay, I just thought of a quote, so I got to give credit where it came from. Yeah, that is a skill we all need to really adopt, um, intravenously feed in our veins, and that is listening to learn. Not to show that you know more, not to just get your point across, but listening to learn. And listening to learn also includes hearing what isn't being said. How about that? So, that's Karen's Carrots for tonight. Hopefully, it's giving you some information to go ahead on and knock out this fourth quarter with a boom. I came across this this cartoon, and the boss is saying the quarterly numbers came in. Boom. Now I think you could take that boom one way or the other, right? Their face don't look so exciting. But nonetheless, there you have it. And I thank you again. This is Karen's Carrots, and we didn't pay a little bill tonight. Let's see if we can do that before we get out of here. Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any strategies they'd like to share that they're doing themselves, or they simply want to contribute to help others? Let's pay a little bill. Hi, if you want to see more, you can see episodes of Karen's Carrots on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe. And of course, we still get your guide to boost your emotional intelligence today. Yes, the journal makes an excellent gift for those of you who still have gifts to buy. So, what I'm doing, I see the question has been asked. So, what I'm doing is I'm offering my 30-day self awareness journal for those who are interested in healing, changing their lives, getting more in touch with themselves. Start back to journaling if you've stopped. Begin journaling if it's something that you haven't done. Um, what is written is real. I can share some things that happened this week. I was writing in my journal one morning, and I got messages back to back to back that related to what I was writing. It was like people were sitting right there, and it was all good and it was all beneficial. I will also be conducting a journaling workshop later this month. I believe it's December 20th. I will be doing that. And I will also be working on a webinar and my course, which will launch the first of the year. So, yes, I am doing things and it's fun. This is a fun time and I'm not stressed. How about that? Thank you, Tammy. I am so glad you got it. And a friend of mine on here, she gifted someone with it, and they were ecstatic to receive it for a variety of reasons. They journal a great deal, and I think they said they were on the last 3 pages of their journal. So for those of you who haven't gotten your journal yet, you can simply go to my website, easintheCsuite.com/shop. Not only will you get the journal, you'll get a bookmark with an affirmation, and you'll get a pen. So as soon as you take your journal out of the beautiful mailer, you can begin writing right then and there. And for those of you who've already purchased your journal, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your support. I want to thank you for the kind words you've given me regarding the journal. And I also want to thank, there is something else I'm doing. I am my contribution. I'd like to ask your help in this contribution, and that is to purchase journals for children in foster care and or shelters. And what we're doing is we're purchasing the journals for these students, or I guess they call them clients, but I just want to say students right here. But we're purchasing it for the same reason, because a lot of times they don't feel heard. A lot of times they may simply have difficulty expressing themselves verbally in front of anyone. So, a good way to start and help them get their feelings out is to write in a journal. So, I am also offering a workshop as well with these institutions. And I really look forward to doing that. I really look forward to just seeing the healing and growth that can take place from simply journaling and getting to know oneself. I think it's an excellent exercise that, for a lot of people began early in their lives and never ended. So I thank you. And if there are no other questions, comments, I want to say, if I don't see some of you, all of you, although I do plan to do Karen's Carrots next Thursday, I'll be here. And I always say how you can get in touch with me. I'd love to hear from you. If there's someone who I got a request this week from a CEO to help them select their EA. But if you need to speak to me about your EA or coaching NEA, my course, I'd love to hear from you. You can email me at info@easinthecsuite.com, and or simply go on my website and book a call. I'd love to talk with you. So that's all for this evening. Thanks again. Thanks to all of my guests. And if you didn't get an opportunity to be here live with us tonight, please hashtag replay should you watch it later on. I appreciate all of you and have a good evening. Bye.